Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Squared Circle Speak, and welcome to another top 10 count video. Today, we're talking tag team wrestling, and we're talking the top 10 tag teams that broke up too soon, in our opinion. Now, these could be teams that had success, but we feel like could have been around a little longer. And it could be a situation where they broke up and then nothing happened, and both members of the teams kind of failed afterwards. So,
Right.
could just be you wanted to see them wrestle a couple more times. It could be from any era, any company, but I'm gonna say almost all of mine are WWE. So I'm just gonna throw it out
Uh-huh.
there. Anyway, fireworks all behind my house. What the fuck? Anyway, all right, let's get into the top 10. I will start us off, Nathan. My first one is a team that wasn't around very long. Two bona fide Hall of Famers. They had a short little run that led to a Mania match. But I would have liked to see what they could have done as a team a little longer. I am talking Chris Jericho and AJ Styles, Y2AJ.
What in the blue hell?
Dude, I really liked them. I liked them. It was AJ's first little feud when he came into WWE. But I really wanted to kind of see them wrestle for a while as a team. They only were around for like a month. But yeah, that's one
I
of my.
can see the way this top 10 is gonna go.
I got
Jesus
some.
Christ.
I got some randoms thrown in. Let me tell you. But yeah, they didn't do anything as a team. They were only a team for like a month, and then they broke up and they had their Mania match, and it was fine. But I kind of wanted to see them team up. They were entertaining. They were fun together. I don't know. That's it. I was thinking about this list, and they popped in my head. So that's my
All right. All right.
that's my number 10.
Jesus. All right. For my number 10, I'm going with a real team. Probably could have used a different name in hindsight, but I'm going with Crime Time
Yeah.
because they broke them up and then nothing happened with either one of them, especially Shad Gaspard. Rest in peace. He was a good dude. But in WWE after their team broke up,
He got fired like relatively quickly after that.
yeah, it was pretty sad. It kind of messed up. And they were good as a team, and I think they may have had one run with the belts, and that was it. And
They were officially held them. I'm not even sure, but yeah.
yeah. So I think that's definitely, if you're gonna make a list of a team that broke up too soon, that's definitely them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they for sure. I will say they're on my list later. But yeah, Crime Time was definitely should have stayed together, and there was no point in breaking them up.
Yeah.
Especially if we were just going to release Shad right afterwards. Like, what was the point? Just keep them together and keep them as a tag team. That was in the era where Vince just hated tag teams and wanted to break them all up.
Yeah, that's true.
For whatever reason. My number 9 is an NXT team that got called up and then never did anything on the main roster much. American Alpha.
Oh yeah.
Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. I mean, they broke them up. Gable kind of fell into obscurity for a while, and then they tried to do the Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle thing. It didn't work. They should have just kept them together for longer. They didn't do much of anything on the main roster because that stuff started happening like right after they got called up. It wasn't too long after they got called up that they tried to make Jason Jordan the Kurt Angle clone, Kurt Angle's son, and it just, yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, they had like one run with the SmackDown tag team titles, but they could have done way more than they did.
Yeah.
So American Alpha is my number 9. I really loved them as a team. I thought they had a bright future, and then they showed up on SmackDown, won the titles, and then split like not that much. It was like that much happened after that. It was kind of crazy. It was such a silent split. Like, they didn't even make a big deal about it when they split them up.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked. I was like, okay, well.
All right. My number 9 is a team that I think could have had a decent run if you would have left them together, because they were giants. They're huge, and not sure why they didn't push them back then, let them have a heel run or even a face run, honestly. And that's Typhoon and Earthquake. the natural disasters. Two big guys, and Typhoon, not the greatest wrestler, but you put them together and you can hide it in a tag team match. And Earthquake is really good, and yeah, they should have had a little more of a run, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were only around for like 2 years as a team.
Yep.
Like, that's crazy. I mean, they won the titles once, but they held it for like not very long at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, they for sure should have. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, two big dudes, and you didn't push. I mean, they were faces when they put together. They should have put them together as heels.
Yeah.
And they were heels for a little bit, and then they turned face. But like, yeah, they should have been pushed way harder. I don't understand that. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think of them. My next one, the number we got 8. My
Yep.
eighth. Let me see here. What do I got? My 8th team is. I'm gonna throw another thrown together team at you, Nathan.
Okay.
RVD and Booker T.
Jesus Christ, Ryan, what the hell? Oh, you see what I have to deal with, people? Good God.
Look,
I feel like this is some cop out shit here. All right, go ahead.
look. You can't tell me that Booker T and Rob Van Dam were not a fun team together. I mean, come on. I don't know how long they were. They weren't together very long at all, and they didn't do much. They won the Raw tag team titles or the WWE tag titles one time, and then they broke them up. They split them, but damn it, they could have been something special. They could have been they were a fun team for a while. I don't know. I
Oh,
thought of this list. That's what I thought, and then they formed in January, and then by March, Van Dam was on SmackDown, so they had a 2-month reign as a team. But hey, they were fun together, so they
right.
went number 8.
All right. My number 8 is Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, World's Greatest Tag Team.
Oof.
I mean, they were one of the best tag teams, and they were on not a team like 2 or 3 years. And I get Shelton was good, like physically, but he wasn't good on the mic, obviously. But he went on to win the IC title and the US title. But it's like, dude, those guys were perfect together. And I know eventually Shelton was probably going to go with
Yeah.
eventually, but they didn't have to do it as quick as they did.
Yeah, they
Because
were.
I think they could have been like 7-time tag. They could have made a run for the Edge and Christian record or something.
They could have held down the tag team division for a long time. They were together for 2 years.
Yeah. See one of the best ever. Like they go down as one of the greatest teams, and they were only together 2 years.
Yep, that's crazy. It seems like time went by. It's crazy. That was 2 years. It didn't feel like 2 years back then. But yeah, they were together from 2002 to 2004, and then Shelton was drafted to Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't put him on there because I thought I liked Shelton afterwards, so I didn't put him in there. But once I realized it was only 2 years, that's crazy. They're considered one of the best tag teams ever, and they were together for 2 years. So
Yeah.
my next team, I had at number 7 was Crime Time. You already mentioned them, but definitely should be on this list if you're like you said, if you're making this list, you better have Crime Time on that list. Everything you said, Crime Time were amazing. They were super over, and yeah, the gimmick you look back on it was kind of, but
But they were funny. They could do the comedy. They could be serious. They had the moves. They had the sayings. I mean, they had it all.
yeah. So yeah, they were good, and I just to this day I still don't understand what they were thinking when they broke them up, because then neither one of them went on to do anything, and JTG became a jobber and Chad got fired. So awful. But they should have been a team longer for sure. They could. I mean, like we said, the world's greatest tag team. I mean, they could have been a tag team for years and just held down the division for a long time as champion, as a tag team. So That was my number 7, Rules Crime Time. So,
All right. All right. So my number 7 is a little controversial,
ooh, I like it.
only because of one of the teammates.
Ooh,
But
don't like it.
but dude, you can't tell me that this team wasn't over. You can't tell me that they're. I mean, I hadn't heard at that time another catchphrase or another saying as over since the New Age Outlaws. And
Uh,
I'm talking about
yeah,
Enzo and Big Cass.
yeah,
Because I mean, dude, they were selling merch. When they did that, they did people recited the whole freaking saying just like they used to with the New Age Outlaws, you know? And yeah, Enzo wasn't good in the ring. But he was good on the mic. You could hide him in that match. Cass, needed some work too, but man, I
yeah,
think if you would have left them together, they could have done something. They would have got better. And yeah,
yeah,
they broke them up way too soon.
yeah, for sure. There, I didn't put them on here, but yeah, they. Now that I think about it, yeah, they were the most over tag team, and I had seen in a long time. Everyone decided this. He's over 7 feet tall, and you can't. And they chanted the whole, yeah, just like the New Age Outlaws. They said the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they debuted on Raw in the
Yeah.
Dudley Boys, that was like the biggest reaction we've heard in a long time. It was nuts. And so that was a missed opportunity. I mean, I know I guess they saw big things in Cass, so they turned him, but the turn made no sense when they did it. And I think the turn ended up hurting both of them in the long run. So
Yeah.
I should have never turned him in the first place. So all right, my number 6 is Heavy Machinery. Otis and Tucker.
What?
Yep.
All right.
That's real. Otis thing, because they were over. Like when Otis was doing the Mandy Rose thing, they were over.
Yeah,
And
but okay. Hear me out. They were over because Otis, though. They were over because of his thing with Mandy Rose, not Tucker.
yeah, but he hasn't really done anything since.
He's done comedy. He's Money in the Bank.
They should have had Otis cash in the Money in the Bank for a tag team title shot with Tucker. And Heavy Machinery could have won the tag team titles. That's what they should have done. Would have put them both over. Instead, they turned them and then Tucker. It's the same situation as Crime Pound. They turned them and then Tucker got fired.
Yep.
And then Otis floundered for a little bit before he found Chad Gable. And I mean, I like the Gable thing, but yeah, Otis and Tucker. I don't know why, but I really like Otis and Tucker. I thought Heavy Machinery were good. They were big. They were funny. They had personality. They should have had a run with the titles, and they should have stuck together because there was no reason to break them up when they did. They were at their peak when they broke them up. Made no sense. Otis was freaking had the Money in the Bank, and they were both like at the peak, and then they broke them up. Right? Made no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, man, you're not liking any of my picks today.
Some of these are questionable. All right. Let's see here. All right. Where are we at?
You're on 6.
I'm on 6. All right. My number 6 team that should not have broken up as soon as they did. You know who I'm going with, Ryan? I'm going with in the WWE. They had a little run, and I liked it. And I don't think they should have ended it as soon as they did, because I feel like one of these guys kind of needed this more than the other, and the other guy was kind of winding down his career. And I'm talking about Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero in WWE. Los Guerreros, I think they should have been a team longer than they were because Chavo needed it.
Yeah.
And Eddie had already won the title, the heavyweight title. And I don't know. I feel like they should have had a little more longer run as a team.
Considering they reunited in 2002 and then they broke up in 2003. I mean, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's really short, and their brother or their they're relatives, and it just made sense, and they were good in the ring together. I know it's the same old thing, they don't like tag teams in WWE back then, but still, that you
Yeah.
could have kept them together a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Chavo needed it. It got him over being with Eddie,
Yeah,
and then they still could have done Eddie as champion. But yeah, it made Guerrero seem better than he was because he was with Eddie. It made him bigger and made him a household name. And then yeah, I mean they had a brief run with the titles. They were only together like 2 or 3 years or 1 or 2 years in WWE, and that was it. I mean that's insane. Didn't think of that one. That was a good one.
yeah.
My number five.
Oh no.
My number five is millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. The prime time players, because once again, it's a situation where after that happened, they split and neither one of them did anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. Okay, you finally had a good one on this list.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I agree. This is they broke up way too early.
They broke up, like, so they were together, they broke them up, and then they put them back together and they broke them up again. So it's like they tried it twice. I don't know why they did it twice. They should have been together the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
so this is like a double. Now they started in 2012. They were like on NXT for a while as a team, and then they moved up to Raw or SmackDown, and then they broke up, and then they got back together, and then they won the tag team titles one time. But yeah, they could have been together that whole time from 2012 to 2016. They should have been together, and probably beyond, because look
Yeah.
at what happened. Darren Young ended up getting fired, and Titus O'Neil was is just did nothing. I know he's older, but you know that would have helped. You would have kept him in this tag team. Darren Young could have carried him for a couple more years.
Yeah.
So yeah, primetime players, I really like them. They were over for a while. They had a chant that everyone did. So, another situation where they just broke them up and then had no plans for either one of them afterwards.
Yep.
All right, what's your number five?
My number five is a team that was successful. A lot of these teams on this list weren't successful as teams were, they had seemed like they had more of an opportunity to they had more in the tank. They could have been more successful. This team was pretty successful because they had one of the longer title reigns in WWE. And I'm talking about Brian Kendrick and Paul London.
Ooh, wow.
Because they were a good team, and when they broke up, Brian Kendrick had that little bitty run where he was had Ezekiel Jackson with him, and he had a little bit of a heel run, kind of trying to be like a smaller Shawn Michaels or whatever. But they were better as a team. Paul London did nothing on his own, and they should have stuck them together for a little while, like a few more years, because you needed that. They did at that time. You didn't have another Hardy Boys Rockers team. They were it, and then you broke them up, and then you didn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
You didn't have the Rock and Roll Express type team. You didn't have the little spunky guys that did cool moves. So I don't know why you didn't keep them together.
Yep. Yeah, Ballin and Brian Kendrick were awesome. I mean, they had the longest run with the SmackDown tag team titles for a long time, but then you just should have kept them together after they moved them to Raw, and then nothing happened on Raw, and then they broke them up, and I mean, yeah, I think they split because of Ashley, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They had a girl break them up, which is just ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
they could have been that underdog team that just did all the crazy shit.
Yeah. Agreed.
My number four, speaking of crazy shit, is MNM, Mockery, Nitro, and Malik.
Oh.
I thought they broke them up way too quickly to push Nitro, which I get. I understand they wanted to push Nitro because he had like the bigger, the brighter future because Mercury was a little older, but still, I just, I liked Nitro on his own, and I liked what he ended up becoming, and Joey or John Morrison and all that. But Eminem should have been bigger and should have been better than what they were. They really weren't. They didn't do much after. I mean, they won the tag titles like twice. Um, but they were only together for like 2 or 3 years. I mean, again, it's one of those things where they were together and then they were only together 2 or 3 years and then broke up and then had a brief reunion after that. Where they teamed were both on different brands and ended up teaming up together, and it was weird. But yeah, they were together for 2 years.
Hmm.
That's it in WWE.
I know, and that's another case, just like World's Greatest Tag Team. You
Yep.
know, probably could go down as one of the best tag teams, and weren't together no time at all.
Are you still doing the podcast?
See you in the morning. Or see you at school. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where, and Mercury, like I said, Mercury was older, and so he could have used Nitro to keep him, keep him going. And I understand they wanted to push Nitro, but that when he first turned, when he was first on his own, he didn't do much. Like he won the Intercontinental title, but then after that, he just kind of fell back apart, and they put him back together right after that anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
we might as well have just kept them together. So,
Yeah.
Eminem, the number 4.
All right. You know, Ryan, I'm gonna stick with your little John Morrison train here, and I'm gonna say Miz and Morrison
Is and
should have been a team a little bit longer because they were over in ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you would have put them on Raw and SmackDown for a little while longer, they could have won the belts a couple more times. You know, they both still could have went on to be, big single stars of the way they ended up being, but still, I think you could have milked that a little longer because yeah, they were a good heel team,
Yep.
good heel team. They were funny. They were kind of like your new Edge and Christian. And I just sometimes I don't think they realized what they had when they had it with some of these teams.
Yep. Yep. They were another team that was only together for about 2 years. They started off, they're ready to get to like the end of 2007, and then they became an official team during 2008, and then they broke up in 2009. So,
Yep.
Again, way too short. They had the greatest thing on WWE.com ever, the dirt sheet. Their dirt sheet was great. That TV show was, and it was a situation where Morrison made Miz relevant.
Yeah.
As Morrison was wasn't really established, but he'd already been there for a while, and he helped Miz become a name. And then, yeah, I mean, yeah, they could have. It's such a situation where they saw something in Miz, they broke him up, but you could have kept them together for another year or two. When they broke it up because of the stupid draft, like that's such a shitty cop out.
Yeah.
Then they broke up, and then they feuded for a while, and then Morrison came back, and then they were together again, and they got broken up again. I mean, it's just weird shit, man. I tell you, bunch of
Yeah.
mysteries. I was gonna put another Miz team on here, but I'm not gonna do that. That'll be my honorable mention. My number 3. Oh, I don't know where to go here, Nathan. I'm gonna go another team from SmackDown in this same era we're talking about. A team that once they broke them up, neither one of them did a damn thing. I'm talking Deuce and Domino.
Okay. I feel like this could have been an honorable mention team, but all right.
You didn't like Deuce and Domino?
They were okay, but they were a gimmick team. There wasn't much. There's only so much you could do with that team, right?
Well, they were together for 2 years, so I guess that was about their about as far as they could go. But
I mean, unless you transition into a different gimmick to where like they were more serious and less,
you could have done that. You could have, because they were together for a year. They got called up in January 2007, and in May of 2008, they parted ways. So they were barely together a year on the SmackDown. You could have transitioned them. You could have had them something happen, and they cut the greaser gimmick, and they just became serious wrestlers. Because neither one of them did a damn thing afterwards. You might as well cut them together again. No point
True.
just tag teams around. I don't, so yeah. I don't know. I like Deuce and Domino. I just went by my teams I liked. Is basically is what I.
Right.
I in hindsight I probably shouldn't have put them as three, but it's,
Yeah, your rankings of this is very weird, but okay.
but we have a lot in this 2006 to 2008 era of WWE. By the way, did you notice that?
Yeah.
All right, man.
What
What's
am I at? What
number
am I at?
three?
My number three. All right, my number three is Renee Dupree and Kenton. I'm just kidding. My number three. My number three is Keith Lee and Swerve in AEW because
Hmm.
those guys, after they broke them up, I know Swerve's champion now, and I know that he had his run so far. But I mean, when they first broke them up, both of them were not doing a whole lot. Swerve had two different groups. One group failed miserably. Keith Lee kept getting injured and they're taken off TV for some other reasons and then coming back. But when they were a team, the crowd was into it. They won the belts, and I feel like you could have ran with that because you don't have you didn't have a lot of teams like that where it's like two, especially in AEW. Which I kind of like AEW the way they have their teams are actual teams, but sometimes you need one of those teams, like these thrown together teams that you keep having on this list. Yeah, you gotta have one of those teams where it's couple guys that just are two basically look like they could be both main eventers, but they're a team.
Yeah.
And I like them as a team. I really did.
All right. Yeah. That's a good one. I really thought they dropped the ball on those guys completely.
Yep.
Really should have used them better because that's. I mean, yeah. I mean, Swerve went on to win the world title and all that stuff, but they had a run with the titles that no one really remembers any, and it just happened.
Yeah.
Like no one remembers they were a team because they didn't do anything with them, and then the feud never really happened, so everyone forgets that they were ever together.
Yeah.
Like it's so ridiculous. Um, I said all mine were WWE, but I just had a late addition that I just thought of that I'm going to add as my number two.
All right.
My number two is an Impact team. I haven't had one of those.
Uh-huh.
AJ Styles and another throw together team. I'm sorry,
God damn it. Here we go.
but
Jesus.
AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels.
What the fuck?
They got together and they were putting on tremendous matches. They won the tag team titles together one time. And then they broke up way too soon. They turned AJ heel again for no reason for him to join up with Christian Cage's group. But they were only together a couple months, but it was really good times when they were together. And I just thought of them together and I just remembered that I was also not super into TNA and I really loved them as a team. And I thought they were going to be around for a long time. And then they had them break up for no reason. And then they feuded for a little bit and then it was over. So that's my number two team is AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. I'm sorry I had a lot of thrown together tag teams on this list, but that's just I guess I realize I like thrown together tag teams.
I guess you do. I don't know. All right, my number two is also from TNA. Goes a little deeper than yours though, and they were a real team. So,
oh,
Michael Shane and Kazarian.
not a real team.
They were a team when they both showed up. That they were a team.
True.
They were a team the whole time.
Okay.
And they broke them up, and then Raven came in and tried to keep them as a team, but changed their gimmick, and it didn't work. And then next thing you know, Michael Shane's gone. And I just think that if they would have kept them together, because there wasn't a whole lot of teams in TNA back then. So if you would have kept them together, they could have been a solid team for a long time. And you still could have had them do X Division stuff on their own, which they still, And because TNA actually did that, they didn't just have their tag team guys just wrestle tag teams. And that's a team that I really liked, that I feel like should have stayed together in the early days of TNA.
Okay. Nice. TNA got some love on their list. And I don't know what your number one is, but my number one is it's a real team.
Okay. Well, at least that's something. That is good.
My number one is Tyson Kidd and David Hart Smith, the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah, I was going to add them to this list, but I didn't.
I think that they had the most because what else? I mean, neither one of them did anything afterwards. I mean, David Hart Smith got fired. Tyson Kidd just ended up in more tag teams.
Yeah.
Like, we broke them up for no reason.
The draft.
They were, they were legitimate. They were the Hart Foundation again. They had the legacy. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just keep them together.
Because they thought that David Hart Smith was gonna be like his dad, and they were gonna push him. But then they realized he wasn't ready yet, and it's like, yeah, you should have kept him as a team because he wasn't ready yet.
And again, they were together for about 2 years. They started ECW together. They went to SmackDown. They unified the tag team titles together. Then they broke up in 2010. So,
yeah,
just again, they were one-time champions, and that's it. Like, they didn't do anything. Like, they feuded with the Usos for a little bit. That's the only thing I can remember about them. They could have been again. And there's another. Almost my entire list was 2000 mid 2000s WWE, because there were so many tag teams that they had that they just completely thrown away for no reason.
Right.
But that's my number one. I don't know who your number one is, but that's my number one, the Hart Dynasty. I feel like they had the most potential as a tag team, and then completely just.
All right, you ready for this number one?
Who's your number one?
It's a real team.
Oh.
So they had success in a company before, but their run in WWE was very short, and especially as a team. And yes, one of them went down as being one of the greatest of all time. It's probably going to, go down as one of the greatest of all time in everybody's eyes. But still, as a team, they never won the belts. They were only a team for a couple years in WWE. I'm talking about the Rockers. Because the Rockers, I mean, people think about them as a team. They think about, the chemistry they had and everything, but they never won the belts in WWE. They were really only a team in WWE for 2 or 3 years, and they only had one WrestleMania match as a team. So think about that. So I think that is definitely a team that should have had a longer run. And Shawn Michaels still could have, went on to have the career he had. It's just,
that's true.
I mean, because Marty Jannetty didn't get to do anything after that. That's why everybody's called the Jannetties.
Yep.
I mean, that's definitely my number one, Ryan. I don't think there's anybody who can say that should not be number one.
That's true. I just feel like, after what happened, they were but they were together. If you include all their other shit, they were together for a long time. But yeah,
they were together probably 5 or 6 years, but in WWE,
when they make it together that much, so it does make. Yeah, I get it. And they never really got to have a blow off much because Jannetty did what he did, so it kind of.
Yep.
So I got a couple honorable mentions here.
Yeah, me too.
I've got a couple.
Oh my god.
One of my honorable mentions was the Iconics.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't throw any women's on here. We're sexist assholes.
I got the Iconics because I feel like, they were the only women's tag team in WWE that were a real tag team.
Yep.
Again, they broke them up for no reason, just like they always do. I got Ball Resistance.
Okay, Ryan, I gotta stop you there. Because they won the titles like 7 times.
Yeah, but I mean, they did nothing afterwards. Should just
Yeah, but they did. That was it. I mean, they did everything they could do. They won the belts as many times as any team in that era. Like,
I kind of just threw him on here because Backlash is in France, and you know.
oh Jesus Christ. Okay.
I got Rusev Day,
Okay, I can agree with that one.
Rusev and whatever the fuck, eight in English. And
Mm-hmm.
Miz and Mizdow
Nah,
because that was.
that was not going to be long lived, all right.
All right, what are your honorable mentions?
All right, one of my honorable mentions here, Ron. We got biscuits and gravy.
I thought of them. I thought of them. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, I mean, come on now,
Jesse and
Festus and yeah, Jesse and Festus, because you know I know that it had a blow off, okay, because he kept, you know, Festus would, you know, freak out, and you knew eventually he was going to freak out and turn on him, but I don't know. I think they could have milked that a little longer. And then another honorable mention. Let's see. I think Test and Albert should have been a team a little longer because Albert didn't get to do shit after Test left him.
That's true.
That was one. What's another team that got broke up in the stupid draft? That should like because there's got to be more.
I'm sure there's more. I just can't remember. I'm sure there were more teams that were broken up. I just don't remember how many. Like I know they broke up Deuce and Domino in the draft. I know they broke up. Uh, who else was? I don't remember.
What about Hunico and Camacho? We just had him on. You know, they were a team not very long.
Yeah, that's true. What about 3 Minute Warning?
Oh fuck yeah!
I mean, they weren't really broken up. They just kind of disappeared. But
That was yeah. They should have stayed a team a little
or
longer.
Billy and Chuck.
No, okay, no. Hey. Oh boy. Okay. On that note, we need to end this before it gets too ridiculous.
All right. Yeah. So that was our list. I'm sure we missed a bunch, and I'm sure you guys are probably going to roast my list. But again, I went by personal preference. You know, whatever. If you have some tag teams that are broken up too early, let us know in the comments and let us know how crazy our lists were compared to what you guys thought. Tomorrow on this YouTube channel, we're going to have fantasy booking Rob Van Dam, his run as WWE and ECW champion. So that should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that tomorrow. He's Nathan. I am Ryan. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.